On this Motivation with Marissa, we celebrate Pride. And today I'm joined with master stylist, photographer, advocate, so much more, my good friend, Billy Maloy. Billy, it's so good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this.
I appreciate you more. When I first thought about this celebration of Pride here on this series, you were one of the first people to come to mind, just for all that you do and all that you mean to the DMV community and beyond. So when you hear Pride, what does it mean to you?
Pride means freedom. You know, same as silence equals death. Pride means freedom to just daily be who I want without concern of persecution at all, or people throwing something at me on the street, or people hurting my trans sisters, or or even just all the privilege of being cis and straight, that what comes with that. It's just to walk down the street comfortably is the beginning of pride. The rest of it is equality within the rest of the systems. That's the rest of it. Like community, the word unity is in there. So we need to make that a real thing. There shouldn't be any dividing lines between us.
Absolutely, absolutely. You talk about that walk, right? And it has certainly been a journey. I mean, you didn't get to this place overnight.
No.
So take me back to growing up in New York and what brought you to the DMV.
I grew up in upstate New York, and it was, conservative yet open-minded, because it's still New York. But they're still conservative. There's a lot of redneck mentality without the southern accent. So, we rode around in pickup trucks. We partied in gravel pits. We did a lot of stuff. My dad owned a construction company, so it was a pretty masculine upbringing. And we had a lot of winters. So winter is really what brought me down here. We had 19 snowstorms in a row. Whew. And I was like, okay, it's homicide or suicide.
After the second one.
Right. I was like, get me out of here. And I got snowed in with my family for 3 days. And I was already almost 30 at that time. And I thought, oh no, I can't do this. So I turned 30, and I had friends in Richmond, Virginia. And they're like, our winters aren't as bad. So that's where I went. Yeah. And then came up here every weekend, because Richmond was still struggling with a lot of their Confederate mentality at the time. And I would say stuff like, do you guys see there's white waitresses and black busboys? Does anybody else see this? In every restaurant, everyone knew their place. It was so uncomfortable for me. And they would talk about the statues. And I said, it's a street load of second place trophies. Like, you lost. Why is there statues commemorating any of this? I didn't understand. And they would get really angry with me. So finally, I come up to DC every weekend. And finally I said, what am I waiting for? So 99, I moved up to this area.
Got it. What made you, I guess, in the spaces that you were in, you believe, so different and so almost ahead of your time even, to see things that way?
Like, I was made aware of my privilege early on, but I also, so I got clean and sober when I was 22. And I couldn't judge where my help was coming from. So any prejudices or bigotry I had in my head, I had to remove. Because if God was putting you in my path, I had to see why. I couldn't say, oh, you don't look like me, or you're older, or you're younger, or you're male or female, or in between, or whatever it was, black, white. I couldn't have all the outer judgments cloud me staying clean and sober. That was my focus, and that's a spiritual thing for me. So I really needed to focus on the message I was getting and where it was coming from. You never know who God's going to talk to you through. So I couldn't have a preemptive judgment about that before anybody spoke to me. And then I was clean like a year, and a young friend of mine, Eric, gave me a Bible and said, I'd love to sit down and talk to you. He goes, I know it's not your thing, because I'm spiritual, I'm not necessarily religious. He goes, but I would love to debate about it. I was like, I'd love that. A week later, he was killed in a police station. Oh. And it seems like it was police brutality. So I started to realize, like, when I came out of the closet, I lost my entitlements within my nuclear family. And then I realized there was a lot of entitlements I didn't see when I saw someone get treated very differently than I had been treated. And that's opened my eyes. And then my friend Diane, she was an older black woman. She took me to Marshall's one day. She's like, just watch. So we went in. They were following her around the store. And I was like, oh my God. So I walked up to the salesperson and I said, you know, I could have just boosted this entire store. And
No
you're
one was
watching this lovely woman. And then we walked down the street and I noticed how white men did not move out of the way for her. And I was like, this is so rude. I'm a like hold the door open for person. Like I do that for everybody. I'm like, I was with two friends last night and I was like, hold on, let me get the door. You know, I always have my arm out if we're crossing the street. Like I've brought up to treat women well. And I couldn't believe these men were literally not walking out of the way. So it made me very aware of privilege and placement and really angry about it.
You said you came out. How old were you at that time?
Well, I came out at 17 to my friends, and it was kind of forced. But I was also in high school, and I was like, I can't keep doing this.
Okay.
I can't keep playing this game. I had a girlfriend named Jenny, and I was like, girl, the only place this relationship is going is Macy's. Like, there's, like, it really, like, I was.
You think Jenny knew?
Jenny knew. She came to visit me at a gay bar later, but she knew. But I came out to my family when I was 19. Huh. Oh, it's kind of, so my best friend called me and he's like, do you want to go to a gay bar? And I was 18 at the time and I was about to turn 19. And drinking age was 18 in New York. And I said, sure. And we went, I went home with the bartender. And my parents had to fire a private investigator to find me. Because I just was like, I'm done. I saw Rocky Horror at 15, and I said, yes, that's what I want. So I was on a mission to find craziness and fun, and I ended up partying too much, hence ending up clean and sober. And then I came out to my family, and it didn't go well. My dad was all right with it. My mother was not. Never was okay with it. She just said, you're not gay. You're just doing this to hurt me. And I was like, if you think me dating men has anything to do with you, like, we all need therapy. Like this, it was really difficult.
And so you turned to various vices to get through.
I took on a lot of vices and they took over. Like they helped at first because it was an emotional escape, but then they took over. And I ended up in rehab when I was 22.
Wow.
But then I had to, like I said, I got clean and sober and I had to start looking at the world differently to get help, which has made me a big advocate because I was part of ACT UP in the 80s and I was in a lot of Democratic clubs before people were, and I was fighting for rights. And I remember really angry about Don't Ask, Don't Tell and being on the mall for that back in the day. And the last time they had the whole AIDS quilt, I was there. So I've been around for a long time and done a lot of these things.
How have you seen the movement change over the years?
Oh, there's good and bad, right? There's the, we're getting marriage, we got all those things, and some respect, and people have the gay mafia in their head. They're scared to mess with us, which I'm grateful for on one level, but it tends to be very white. And they're ignoring a lot of black trans women, especially, are hurt weekly, if not monthly, if not daily. And it's very upsetting to see a lot of cis people in the gay community ignoring the trans members. We would not even have Pride without the trans girls. I was online recently, on like a HuffPost page or one of those, and someone's like, I don't know them anything. I'm like, yes, Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia, they threw the first bricks. They were at Stonewall. They stood up for us. It was right after Judy Garland died. Everyone was upset, and here the police come trying to give us a hard time. Pride started with a brick. It wasn't a parade. So to me, it's still that. It's still a brick. It might be an emotional brick now, but it's a brick that I'm ready to throw.
Wow, that's powerful. So when you make the decision to enter sobriety and to live on your own terms at 22, how did you get into styling, or how did it really blow up, I should say, because you're everywhere? Right,
I was doing hair, but I wasn't that focused because I had a lot of vices. I don't know if the hair, I think everybody got asymmetric just because I didn't.
It was not on purpose to be trendy, right?
No, and so it was a lot, and then I got clean and sober and I really started to focus on my career. I was offered a job in New York with the Rosie O'Donnell show, but I was 23 and I was only clean a year, and I thought, I don't know if I'm ready for that fast of a lifestyle. So I didn't go. I stayed up in Albany, upstate, and I started working on different things. So I started getting involved in community theater, and I was doing theater hair. which led when I moved to Richmond, I was doing traveling companies for some shows. They would, when they came to the area, I would end up doing the hair for the shows. And that was great. So my wigs went around the country. You know, there was not Hairspray, there was another one about girl groups. I forget what it was called. And it was like Hairspray though. And they had a lot of like Supreme style hair. I had so much, you could throw those things across the room though, the wigs I made. I knew how to lacquer those suckers. And I started meeting some people. I did hair for the cast of Stomp, so I have a trash lids with everybody's autograph.
That was huge when it broke through.
It was huge,
everywhere.
And they love me. So I got free tickets and stuff, and it's always been like that. I've always been, so I end up around a lot of famous people and a lot of well-known people, and I'm not, I don't get starstruck that easily. I think Stevie Nicks would be the only person I wouldn't know what to say. Like, anybody else I've met, I'm like, oh, hi, how are you? Like I was at the Black and Iconic Awards, and there's all these famous people. So I was like, I'm already in the room. I'm not like a hanger-on. So I was just like, hi, how are you? Would you like to come talk to my friend? You know, so it was, I don't get starstruck easy, and I think that's helped me a lot. So people know, they feel really comfortable talking to me.
Yeah, and you're also secure in who you are and what you bring
completely.
to the table.
Right.
And so the labels are off.
Right, and recovery helped me with that because I remember being at meetings and like having to say I was gay or dating men, and I was terrified. Like I said, it was the 80s. I got clean in 87, so it was late 80s, early 90s. People were dying left and right. I was bringing, cash and Walkmans to people in the hospital because the nurses wouldn't touch them. So I was the one, like, here's $20. So they'd have food for snacks because they weren't even bringing them meals half the time. They'd leave them at the door. These people couldn't get out of bed. So I had to learn how to, if I didn't want to use again, I had to be myself unapologetically. So I had to go to meetings and say, I'm gay, I'm, whatever. And I always felt like I had diarrhea. Like my stomach was churning. I was terrified to talk about it. And I forced myself to do it, which led me to speaking. One time, I spoke at a prison, men's prison, 500 men. I was terrified.
I'm sure.
I walk in and I was like, huh. And then I thought, huh. And I said, well, you guys can't go anywhere. I said that out loud. I said, you're stuck with me. I told every secret I had. And I learned to really be myself unapologetically and tell the truth every time somebody asked me. Even talking to you before this, I was like, ask me anything. I really don't care. Yeah. Because I don't have shame about who I was because I wouldn't be who I am. So all the mistakes I made led me to be today. Here I am, 60 years old. I'm
60 where, Billy? Come on.
Right. They always
You're pulling my chain and I don't have one.
This is one of my lines. Black don't crack, right? But pink doesn't sink if you don't drink.
Give me some. Give me some.
So, right? But it's true. I hate. Can I say this? Like I might have Kennedy face. You know what I mean? Like bloated big nose. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of like. I mean, I think I'm Irish. So
you look great.
Thanks, but I feel like I'm 60 and I'm just really coming into my own. I'm in a lot of spaces with like famous people, and you guys have me on all the time, and I kind of love where I'm at right now.
Well, because I think people feel the realness, the authenticity, the vulnerability in you. It goes through the screen here. One thing I love too about you is that you are a stylist. So you deal with the external a lot, right? And enhancing that. How do you think that relates to the internal battles, or does it, that you fought?
Thank you for asking. Like, it really does. Early in my recovery, I was kind of thinking about becoming a substance abuse counselor, and I started to do it. And I was like, it was all right. You know what I mean? It doesn't pay. So I was like, I need to still do hair. And I was kind of minimizing what hair does for people. Like, I know it seems shallow. It's in the moment, you feel good about yourself, and you walk out of it and you feel like you're on the runway. I forget that if I do a good haircut and color, you have that for 6 weeks. You don't have to worry about how you look for the next few weeks at minimum, like say 2 weeks, right? Like if it's a wash and style kind of thing. You don't have to worry about that. I've just taken a stress off the table for people. Also, my studio, I just brought the Kleenex back. A lot of people in the area are losing their jobs. And COVID, same time, it's a safe haven. So I always tell the moms, I'm like, don't bring your kids when you're getting your hair done. Set them up as a separate appointment. this is just for you, Marissa, just for you, Linda. You're not mom, you're not coworker, you're not wife.
Caretaker.
You're not caretaker, you're just you. And husbands too. You know, it doesn't matter, just have this be your time and save the family time for another. So I realized, you know, while it feels a little shallow, it also is really deep to take care of yourself. Self-care, especially right now, everything's in chaos. The country feels like it's off kilter. That you have this moment of like, well, I can look in the mirror and feel okay. I'm not hating what I see for a moment. Like that is really important. So I think it does tie into that, and that I had to realize what I do is esteemable. So it helps build my own esteem while I'm helping you with yours.
That's profound, and also a transformation that we can see as well. How did you get, I mean, I've seen the before, now I'm looking at the after. How do we get here?
Well, I had started taking some improv classes, and I also had started eating a lot during COVID. I had always had a little weight on and off. I'm okay with like 10 pounds here and there. Like I'm up 5 pounds right now. I'm not that happy, but I'm not. And then I realized post-COVID, I started doing improv. I saw photos of myself on stage. I had gotten like 50 some pounds heavier. I was well over 200. I'm only 5'8", so it's not like, that shows a lot, especially on a male physique, you know, it's really difficult. So I started thinking I need to lose weight. And I saw the photo of myself, I'm like, oh my God, I'm big. First off, I was like, God, I have no friends. Nobody said, girl, tuck it in, like snatch that waist, because it's too much to snatch. So I went on a journey. I initially cheated a little bit. I did Ozempic, but I only did it for 3 months because I couldn't get it, but my friend had a supply he couldn't take. I called my doctor. I said, can I do this? He's like, just remember you have a limited supply. So you have more to change than they do. So I automatically saw it as a tool, not an answer. So I started there. I lost 20 pounds automatically, but then I only had 3 months. So I stopped eating before 10 a.m. I don't eat past 6 p.m. And when I'm eating, I try to eat healthy. So that, like, people like want to poo-poo Ozempic a lot. I'm like, but it helped me over a hump. And I lost 54 pounds altogether.
Incredible.
And I've kept it off. So, you know, I was able to wear the outfits I want. In February, I went to St. Croix for my birthday, and I was like, I'm turning 60, and I can wear what I want. I'm comfortable with my body again. I like how I look. It's such a relief. I didn't realize how much I was hating how I looked. So I lost the weight, and the first thing I did, I realized like, I had hair down to my butt for years, and I was like, I don't need this anymore. Like I really kept.
You were hiding behind the hair somewhat?
Yes. Well, the hair, I felt like it was the only fabulous thing I had. Because I was so big. I was really, and I'm really hard on myself. And I've had to stop that as much too. So now I give myself a little more leeway. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm 60 and I'm rocking it. And you know, and I stopped. I was doing Botox. I stopped doing that. I'm not doing anything except taking care of myself and eating better. And so I sold my car. So I walk or ride my bike. I rode an hour yesterday. After this, I'll ride an hour today, or longer, because I love the bike path here from like Silver Spring down to like DC.
Nice.
One day I was riding, I'm like, where am I? And I realized I was on the phone with a friend. I'm like, you gotta stay on the phone with me. I have an hour ride back. Like, you gotta stay on me.
Make sure I get from point A to point B, yes.
But so I really just started taking care of myself. I'm like, I can be old and cute. I can't be old, fat, and cute. You know.
Well, Billy, you look great, and more important than that, I can feel it radiating from you, from your heart. It's in your eyes. It's all over you. I mean, you really shift the atmosphere of the room when you walk in.
I try to. I try to be positive.
And it means so much. And I think, too, watching you, you give people permission to lean into their authenticity just by being who you are. You know, and I think
don't get me choked up. Thank you.
It's so true. Like, they see you living your life out loud on your own terms. It lets them know that's possible for me. And I think there are so many people, whether they tell you or not, whether you ever meet them or not, you are going to be the reason that they're going to live life fully. It's super powerful. And I always end this segment, Motivation with Marissa, with a question. And so I'm going to pose it to you based upon what we discussed and maybe some other things you would like to share. Billy Maloy, what's motivating you these days?
What's motivating me these days is being a soft landing spot for the people I care about, and to really be there. I have some family that are trans right now, so that's motivating me to be out and loud. And one of the things I like to do is live out loud. So I post pictures with me of people of color. I post pictures of people with trans experience. I do it on purpose, you know, because then I have a lot of clients who come to me and they're like, they're more okay with it because they see me doing it. But what I'm really motivated right now is to take care of the people I love and really be there for them. So that means I have to be stable. I have to be at work. I have to be centered. I have to be, you can't throw a rope from a slippery rock. So I have to make sure my foundation's strong, so when my friends are going through something, I can put up my hand and I'm not worried. But, you know, so I love being support to the people I love. That's really what's motivating me right now, because I see a lot of people under attack, and I'm not going to have it.
Not on your watch.
Not on my watch.
All right, Billy Maloy, thank you so much. Are you doing anything in particular for Pride?
Well, I just was at the Black and Iconic Awards, which is a huge gay event, and that was amazing. I was at, I saw We Are Gathered, which is a gay-based play written by Terrell Alvin McCraney, and he was there, so I got to talk to him. And like a lot of the events, I'm going to be going to the festival and stuff. Now's when it turns about 98 degrees and everybody's in tank tops, which the boys love, and I'm like, it's too hot. But I might go to the events and stuff. I wasn't, and I'd love to go see Cynthia Erivo while she's
Oh my
here.
gosh, me too. That's Cynthia Erivo.
Right. I saw her like 5 times in The Color Purple on Broadway.
Oh, yes.
Like, I've been a fan of hers
She
from
won
way
a Tony
back.
for that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you for always
Thank
showing up and showing out. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I am honored to be here.
Absolutely.
Thanks, beautiful.
Thank you.
Mwah.